the rheumatic fever, rheumatic heart disease. We'll first discuss about rheumatic fever. Rheumatic fever is an acute immunologically mediated multisystem inflammatory disease that usually occurs 2 to 3 weeks following an episode of group A streptococcal pharyngitis. So major involvement is the connective tissue of the heart, joint, skin, subcutaneous tissue, and vascular connective tissue. And the key pathological feature is the rheumatic granuloma. This rheumatic fever usually occurs between the age between 5 to 15 years, and the clinical course is usually involves the childhood infection. Complications are cardiac defects. So it usually causes an immune response rather than a bacterial directly affects the heart. So the evidence which related to group A beta hemolytic streptococcus infection include there is a streptococcal infection history before the onset of rheumatic fever, and a variety of antibodies of streptococcus and its products can be detected in the onset. And the serous O antibody 95% is high, usually more than 500 units, and the regional distribution consistent with the area of streptococcal infection. Usually it's a bacterial infection, so antibiotic prophylaxis is the treatment of choice. The evidence which is not directly caused by streptococcal infection include the disease is usually apparent 2 to 3 weeks later. Usually it takes a window period for affecting the individual, and there is no evidence of direct invasion of organ by streptococcus, and the streptococcus has never been found in rheumatic for blood patients. RA factor will be positive, antibody will be positive, but the streptococcus won't be positive, and there won't be any purulent inflammation, but there will be fibrinoid necrosis. So antigen and antibody cross-reactivity. So it causes an immunological cross-reactivity in the patients. Pathogenesis. First antigen enters. It takes antibodies are M antibody and C antibody. M antibody usually affects the vascular smooth muscle, and C antibody affects the cardiovascular connective tissue. So these antigen antibody complex, it is formed, and it causes a local deposition of alexin, which causes neutrophilic infiltration. From the neutrophils, there is the release of lysosomal enzymes, which causes the blood vessel and tissue injury. Or if the local deposition of alexin, it causes the platelet aggregation and activation of coagulation system, which leads to embolism or bleeding. So there are 3 phases. First phase is the exudative and degenerative phase. Second is the proliferative phase, in which there are granulomas. And third is the scar phase, which is the healed phase or fibrosis phase. So this is the first phase, exudative and degenerative phase, causes by acute inflammatory serofibrinous tolerant exudate, the deposition of immune presbyritone collagen fibers. These are the collagen fibers, and causes the fibrinoid necrosis. These are the fibers which is undergoing necrosis. So second phase is the granulomatous phase, in which there are Ashkoff bodies, which is the pathognomonic for rheumatic fever. Ashkoff bodies, in the center there is fibrinoid necrosis. Around it there are Anichoscope cells, which are the histiocytes, lymphocytes, occasional plasma cells. And the distribution is usually myocardial, subendocardial, subcutaneous. So these cells are the histiocytes, which are round to oval nuclei with slender, wavy, ribbon-like nucleus, which is called the caterpillar cells. So some histiocytes, they become aggregate and form a multinucleated cell called Ashkoff cells, which are the inflammatory giant cells. So this is a rheumatic granuloma, in which these are the collagen fibers, and these are the Ashkoff cells, and these are the histiocytes. This is the artery, and the plasma cells and lymphocytes. So this is composed of a granuloma. So this is the rheumatic granuloma. These are the Ashkoff cells. This is the complete granuloma. Histiocytes, inflammatory cells are found in this. The myocardial interstitium has a circumstantial collection of mononuclear inflammatory cells, including some large histiocytes with prominent nuclei and these are the multinucleated cells which are the Ashcroft cells. These are perivascular granuloma formation. These are the Ashcroft cells, multinucleated cells, and these are the ovalized cells. Third is the scar phase, which there is the emergence of fibroblast and collagen production and formation of small spindle scars, 2 to 3 months. The above 3 stages, they causes repeated attacks, and old and new lesions usually coexist. The whole course usually takes about 4 to 6 months. So these are the various organs which rheumatic fever involves: rheumatic heart disease, arthritis, rheumatic disease of the skin, rheumatic disease of the brain. So rheumatic heart disease are divided into rheumatic endocarditis, myocarditis, pericarditis, and in that 60 to 80% usually affects the children, causes pancarditis. This is acute rheumatic heart disease. It's causing vegetations, infected endocarditis, and Ashcroft bodies in the myocardium, and pericarditis, inflammation of the pericardium. This is a sore throat caused by beta hematopoietic staphylococci. These antigens enters into the lymph node where the antigen-antibody reaction occurs. The immune responses cause a release of immune complexes, and these immune complexes causes the carditis. So rheumatic endocarditis, the most important lesion caused by rheumatism, valvular deformity and dysfunction. So lesions were most commonly involved the mitral valve. Sometimes both the mitral valve and aortic valve are also involved. Pathological changes: early stage there will be serous endocarditis, valve swelling, translucent, and microscopically the valve becomes loose due to serous exudate, usually accompanied by macrophages, and there is a fibroid necrosis of the collagen fibers. Concomitant involvement of the endocardium and left-sided veins by inflammatory foci, which are called as vegetations. These are usually 1 to 2 mm diameter. And the vegetation, the bulk thrombus, usually consists of platelets and cellulose. So this is the acute rheumatic carditis, small 1 to 2 centimeter vegetations. These are the vegetations along the mitral valve. Also small vegetations. Advanced stage of the vegetations. This causes a recurrent organization and causes valvular stenosis. This is a mitral stenosis with diffuse fibrous thickening and distortion of the leaflets. And there are shorting of the caudate tendon. These are the caudate tendon which are getting shorter, and these are thickened. Rheumatic myocarditis, location is usually interstitial connective tissue. Pathological feature, as already mentioned, rheumatic granulomas. This is a perivascular rheumatic granuloma. Inflammatory cells, congestion. So rheumatic pericarditis is a serious or serious fibrous inflammation. Can form a pericardial effusion, triocardia, and constructive pericarditis. Pericarditis can be either of serous or fibrinous exudates. This is fibrinous and this is the serous exudate. This is a pericardial effusion. Because of the pericardial effusion, there will be like expanding serous cardiac X-ray showing flash shape. This is adhesive pericarditis in the cardiac surface of the patient. This is a fibrinous type. The tricarditis can lead to precordial pain, pericardial friction. The third is the rheumatic arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis usually occurs in the old age. Site usually involves the large joints, most commonly the knee and ankle joint, followed by shoulder, wrist, elbow, and other joints. Characteristic feature is the migratory polyarthritis. There will be local serous exudate which appears red, swelling, heat and pain and inspection. Microscopically, it usually shows serious inflammation. Third is the rheumatoid arthritis, usually involve the coronary arteries, renal artery, brain artery, and small arteries. So vascular wall connective tissue showing myxoid degeneration and fibroid necrosis. So we can also see rheumatoid granulomas. In the skin lesion, subcutaneous nodules, and the annular erythema, which is the exudative lesion, and which appears on the extremities and the trunk. These are the annular erythema. So the back. So rheumatic disease of the brain, which usually involves the cerebral cortex, basal ganglia, thalamus, cerebral cortex, and the lesion to the rheumatoid arthritis and subcortical encephalitis. In 5 to 5 years old children, usually common seen in girls. The last is the infective endocarditis, one of the most serious complications. It's usually caused by colonization or invasion of heart valves by microbes, leading to vegetations composed of thrombotic debris and organisms. Traditionally, infective endocarditis can be classified into acute and subacute. Acute pathogenic, the strong pathogenic bacteria, carbuncle, puerperal fever, and osteomyelitis simpson, which the bacteria enters the blood, causes sepsis. The normal endocardium, invading of the mitral valve, aortic valve, there will be acute septic endocarditis and bacterial vegetations. In subacute, there will be streptococcal viridans infection through oral cavity. And 80% of the cases causes congenital heart disease. So these are the vegetations, both the subacute and acute forms. These contains of fibrin, inflammatory cells and bacteria. Here the microscopic image showing cellulase, platelets and bacterial groups. These are the vegetations. And in the aortic opening, a large irregular red vegetation is seen caused by staphylococcal aureus infection. And this is the acute type of infective endocarditis. There is a rupture of caudate tendon. This is subacute intestinal infective endocarditis. These are the vegetations. The caudate tendon. The complications, fever, it is the most consistent sign of infective endocarditis. However, subacute disease, particularly in the elderly, fever may be slightly or absent, and the only manifestations are non-specific fatigue, weight loss, and flu-like syndrome. In contrast to acute endocarditis, they usually have fever, chills, weakness, and lassitude. Arterial embolization is seen commonly in brain, heart, kidneys, spleen, mesentery, limbs, and pulmonary. Chronic valvular disease and non-specific symptoms like splenomegaly, anemia, clubbing finger, and toe can be seen. Peripheral symptoms can also be seen. Peripheral symptoms like rod spots, Janvey lesions, ossular nodules, splinter and subungual hemorrhages. These are splinter hemorrhages or subungual hemorrhages. These are retinoscopy showing retinal hemorrhage, ossular nodes. These are JNV lesions. They are small erythematous and hemorrhage. Macular, non-tender lesions on palms and soles. And these are ossular nodules, small tender subcutaneous nodules, develop in the pulp or proximally in the fingers. These are also ossular nodules. The difference between subacute and acute, bacterial virulence is weak in subacute. In acute, it is strong. Valve, you have lesions. In acute, valve is usually normal. Vegetations, usually in subacute, it will be dry, crisp. In acute, they will be large and soft. Bacteria is usually less, and many bacteria and necrosis can be seen in acute. The final result, vast majority of the people can heal. And in acute forms, most of the patients will be dying. bacteria into the blood. It causes acute causes sepsis, embolism. So in subacute there will be non-infectious infarction, and in acute there will be multiple embolic microabscess. Difference between rheumatoid endocarditis and subacute. Etiology is usually immunological and subacute usually bacterial. Grossly, there are white, small, compact vegetations in rheumatic, whereas in subacute there will be gray red, large, loose vegetations. Microscopically, rheumatic shows a white thrombus. There will be white thrombus with necrosis and bacterial colonies in subacute. Clinical features usually rheumatoid presence with valvular disease, and subacute have valvular heart disease, thromboembolism, infarction, septicemia.